Hi, folks. Just back from the We Really, Really, Really Hate Trump Women's March in London, Ontario. And the pink pussy hats, that's their term, not mine, were on display. I was the only counter protester, if that's what you want to call me. I just wanted to go down and give my 2 cents on the hypocrisy of protesting against Trump, claiming to be for women's rights, except that the left has never protested against Bill Clinton. They've never protested against Hillary Clinton taking millions and millions of dollars from countries like Saudi Arabia that brutally oppress women and treat them like property. So I thought I'd go down to today's rally in London, Ontario, Canada, to just see what would happen. Hopefully, perhaps be interviewed by the media. But somebody had to be there. I followed the campaign a long time, and the left has been hating on Trump. And sure, he said some dumb things, maybe, especially in his past. But when you weigh that against Hillary Clinton and the support she's accepted from these Islamic hellholes that treat women like dogs, I just couldn't stand the hypocrisy. Had a great time down there. I was interviewed by 3 different media outlets, four, correction. One newspaper, the London Free Press, a TV station, CTV News, and 2 radio stations. One of them was 980 AM, which is a local station. I have audio of my interviews and interviews with, or conversation I had with people as they came around and talked to me. And some people expressed support for my right to be there, even though they didn't agree with me. And there were some others that just, were kind of perplexed as to what was going on. But all in all, it was a great day. While I was being interviewed by CTV News, and you'll hear it in the interview, it'll be the last part of the audio tape that I'm posting here. You'll hear me talk about how they took something right out of my hands. It was an original equipment official Donald Trump, Mike Pence lawn sign that I got from a GOP office in Michigan during a visit during the campaign. And I brought back 4. 3 of them were stolen right from my lawn on election day. I had one in reserve that I took down to the protest, and I was holding it about 2 or 3 feet away from the camera, CTV News camera. And while I was talking to the reporter and answering her questions, a nice, tolerant, nonviolent person, feminist, came across and snatched it out of my hand. And like the hero she was, she took off and ran away with it. So she must have thought I was very angry about it, but of course I was not, because it demonstrates exactly what the left is all about. It's about intimidating people. It's about intimidating them into thinking alike, speaking alike, acting alike, and they cannot tolerate disagreement. They call people like me fascists and racists. In reality, they need to go home and look in the mirror. They're the ones using the fascistic tactics, and it was on display again. Having said that, as I mentioned earlier, there were some nice people that came over and had a chat and supported my right to be there. So it was a great day, and I'm going to let you. I've got some pictures, and I'll play them while the audio recording plays. It's a hoot. So the lesson from all of this is the difference that one person can make. Had I not gone down there all by myself, the only media coverage would be about how these women were fighting the evil Donald Trump and standing up for women's rights. Instead, I was interviewed by, as I said, by 4 media outlets, and maybe one of them will run the story. As you can hear in the audio later, I said to the CTV camera person, the interviewer, I hope you're going to run that clip because it really shows what the left is all about. So I more than accomplished everything that I wanted to do today, and we got the word out. And I hope you'll enjoy the video. Thanks a lot. Nothing says respect me as a woman like wearing a pink pussy hat. That's their term, not mine. Our first clip is of interviews with two radio stations. One of them is AM 980 in London.
I'm with AM 980, he's with 106.9X.
Hi, how are you?
Ask you a few questions about why you're holding a Trump sign?
By all means.
First, can I get your name, please?
It's Mark Vandermaas.
Can I get the spelling of your last name, please?
V as in Victor, A-N-D-E-R, M-A-A-S as in Sam.
And so how come you have a Trump sign here at the rally?
Well, I followed the campaign very closely, and very, very closely. And, you know, I'm married to a woman, so I like women, and I support women's rights, but I thought there should be at least one person down here exposing the hypocrisy that during the entire campaign, or ever, I've never once seen the left hold a protest or a rally or a demonstration against a woman, the other candidate who took millions upon millions of dollars from countries that really brutally oppress women and treat them like property. So that's all. I just thought I'd come down here and create the opportunity that if somebody in the media wanted to know the other side of the story or a different perspective, I was here to do that.
Sorry, would you mind just spelling your name for us?
It's V-A-N-D-E-R-M-A-A-S as in Sam.
Okay, and sorry, it was Mark, right?
Yes.
Sorry, if I could just get you to double back. Sorry, I was having a little technical problem there. So because you haven't seen a protest from the left, or?
Yeah, well, I follow the Trump campaign very, very closely. I watch most of his speeches. I would go online. I've seen a lot of the rhetoric, the hatred from the left. Yeah, he said some dumb things, but when you weigh that against a woman who took millions upon millions of dollars from Islamic countries who brutally oppress women and treat them like chattel, I've never seen a protest by the left against that. And so I'm just here to be maybe a lone voice to expose that hypocrisy in some small way. That's all. That's all I'm here for.
Some people might think that you might be trying to start something, right? But your protest is just to represent, correct? It's not to like start any problems or get any violent. I know some people think that sometimes when these clashes happen, it can be violent. But
well, it's kind of funny because the left constantly protests. They went into Washington and ripped the place apart, burning limousines, setting things on fire, smashing windows and stuff. And nobody really asked them. The media doesn't really ask them, well, you know, what are you doing here? In fact, you never saw that on TV. So no, I'm not here to start anything. I'm standing across the street. I'm not provoking anybody. I suspect that if anything's going to happen, they're going to come over and try to intimidate me, but hopefully that won't happen today. We're here to exercise my democratic right to just be a voice of opposition, and just, you know, maybe somebody in the media will actually ask them, why didn't you protest Hillary Clinton? Why have you not protested against Iran, who's killing gays? Why aren't you protesting against all of these brutal dictatorships? Why are you going after a guy who made maybe a couple of dumb comments? Like, how is that a threat to women? So that's all. It's just the hypocrisy of it.
Well, we want to come over and make sure that we.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, if we took a little bit of B-roll just with you standing just to demonstrate that you are here and present.
Oh, you do whatever you want.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Did you listen to his speech yesterday?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you listen to his inauguration?
Yes, I did actually. I listened to the whole thing.
What were your thoughts on that speech?
I thought what it was, you know, first of all, as somebody who supports him, I thought it was a speech from the perspective of he was being true to what he said he was going to do. I think he was really reaching out to people and letting them know that he wasn't interested in a feel-good moment in a day, but in the long run, he wanted to unite the country and bring it together and create prosperity. He wanted people to have the dignity of work. And he really wanted the people to understand that for the first time in many, many years, they had somebody in the White House who really understood their pain. And I think you saw, like during the election, when you compare his words to Hillary Clinton calling people irredeemable deplorables, I thought, here we go, here comes the intimidation of the left now. And this is their playbook. They're going to try to intimidate me. And if I'm lucky, I may not end in the hospital today. So this is their playbook.
So they can't.
I'm not in his face.
And what's really exciting about this, or interesting, is that I've been here about 10 minutes and I'm now taking control of their rally. So if they were smart, they would actually cross the street and ignore me, but they're not going to do that because the left is always inherently violent. Everybody has to think like them, everybody has to act like them, nobody's allowed to disagree with them. See? So I'm just quietly standing here and I'm being intimidated already. So I think I've proved my point, the hypocrisy. So they're not tolerant. They're not tolerant at all. They're not tolerant of different ideas. Their method is intimidation and violence. And we saw that in DC. There we go. Now we're racist, except that playbook doesn't work anymore.
The next clip is an interview with the London Free Press. It opens with the end of a discussion that I was having with one of the participants in the rally. He was very civilized, and then the reporter jumps in and demands to know if I'm being provocative, and the interview goes from there.
So I think it's really preconceived to come here and do this to get this reaction.
You know, that's a little disingenuous when the left constantly goes to different events and tries to deliberately disrupt them, to come over here and say to me, a guy standing across the street holding a sign is disrupting something.
No.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not. No,
trying to be provocative.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to stand here and
I'm
be...
with the London Free Press, by the way. My name's Jane Sims. I'm a reporter.
Oh, well, you don't sound like you're a very unbiased one.
No,
Am I not
you,
trying to be provocative?
Are you not
I'm trying to accomplish exactly...
I'm asking you that. I think that's a legitimate question.
What I'm trying to
you
do...
know that there's about 400 people over there on one side, and you're here with the Trump-Pence side, and you know people are going to be mad at you.
Right, and with the emotion that's there, that's my point.
Right?
So, anyway, I appreciate the fact
Yeah, no problem. I'm Mark, by the way.
And I have to be, I want to be fair, right? You do have the right to say what you want to say, and I have the right to ask you the question.
Of course.
And I apologize when I was disrespectful.
No, it's fine.
And,
not to worry.
I thank you for your time.
No problem.
Again, I still say, it is your decision to come here and be the fly in the ointment, right? So,
Can I get your name?
Well, that's what protests are.
This was a lovely conversation.
My name's, sure, I'll give you my name.
Sure,
It's Rick.
Rick, yes.
It's Wittick, W-I-T-U-I-K.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name?
Sure, it's Mark Vandermaas, Vandermaar. See ya. Vandermaas as in Sam.
Okay, so are you, again, like, you've come down here, tell me why you came.
That's a better question.
But that's the same question I asked you.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it
no,
is.
the
So
question you asked me, your first question was, are you not being provocative?
That's what I said.
That was your question. So your first question was not, why are you here?
That's back up. I'm not here to fight with you, Mark.
Well, I'm not sure.
No, I'm not here
because
to fight with you.
I don't really trust media, including the London Free Press. So if you wanted to have a conversation, I'm glad to talk to you.
Sure.
So why did I come here? I followed the Trump campaign very, very closely. I've watched almost all of his speeches, and when I saw this going on and the left's hatred towards Trump, it's funny. I never once saw anybody protesting against Hillary Clinton for taking millions and millions of dollars from Islamic countries that brutally oppress women and treat them like chattel. So, I just came down here today. I figured I'd probably be the lone voice, and maybe somebody in the media will want to come over and say, why are you here?
I did.
Which is what you've done.
And I'm taking your picture too, just so you know.
Oh, absolutely. No. I don't hide in the dark. I'm not afraid. So when I see what the left is doing and has been doing throughout the entire campaign and practically forever, I am not aware. I'm a pretty politically savvy person. I stay in touch with things. But I have never once seen the left protest against Iran, protest for killing gays or suppressing women. I've never seen any of that. So for them to come down here, I like women. I married a woman, and so I'm all in favor of women's rights. But let's not be hypocritical about it. If you're going to protest against Donald Trump because he made a few comments, then why did you not protest against Hillary Clinton, who has taken millions of dollars?
Can I interject? You talked about no protests for gay rights or anything. I think we have pride parades, and women have protested for women's rights for.
Have they protested against? Have they gone down to the embassy, the Iranian embassy, when it was here? Have you heard anybody mention Iran or any of these Islamic countries that are oppressing women? No, I haven't seen any protests. I haven't heard them mention it. The only name I've heard mentioned here today is Donald Trump. Now I can weigh up whether Donald Trump said some stupid things about women in the past. Yeah, I don't like it, what some of the things he said. But when I weigh that against a woman who took many millions of dollars from countries like Saudi Arabia without a single protest, a word of voice, a word raised by the left, then to me that's hypocrisy. And this is an example of the hypocrisy. So that's the only reason I'm here. And as far as me coming down here to be provocative, well, the left does that all the time. They always protest things. They went into D.C. yesterday, tried to disrupt a duly elected an inauguration from a duly elected president, and tore the place apart. Okay.
I can meet back. Okay. Where'd you get your son?
Pardon me?
Where'd you get your son?
Actually, I got it. I was I was having a little vacation in Michigan. We were meeting some friends from Michigan, and there wasn't going to be, there's no real politics, but I really wanted to get a couple of signs. So I got it from the GOP office down in a black part of Detroit.
Which part?
I can't name the street. I can't name the street, but it's an area. There's a GOP office down there. I can't.
So you don't know what part of Detroit? I know Detroit pretty well.
I don't know where it was.
Yeah.
I do know there's a restaurant nearby. What was really interesting about it is there was a restaurant nearby. I mean, I do have the address of it. I think I have the woman's card. What was really interesting, there was a restaurant nearby, and the restaurant was being boycotted. They were trying to boycott the restaurant because it dared to serve lunch, to cater a lunch for Donald Trump Jr. And to me, this is what the left is all about. It's not about supporting black businesses. It's not about supporting the people. It's all about the politics. It's about intimidating people, about making sure that everybody has to think alike and act alike, and I don't agree with that. So while I was there, to get your question, so the sign, so I got 4 signs,
Right.
and we went back to the hotel, and I was following the campaign, and it was right at the end of the campaign. Donald Trump had just announced 2 unscheduled rallies, and I wanted to go to one, and the next day they were holding one in Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Right.
So that's where I went. We went to the rally in Sterling Heights, Michigan. So I got the signs from the GOP in Michigan office in downtown Detroit, and then I brought them home. I put 3 of them on my lawn on the election day, and within a couple hours somebody had stolen them, which was exactly the point that I was going to prove. That.
How old are you?
Oh, 60.
60. And what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm a rule of law activist. I got my start in Caledonia. I was an ex-militant member of the Canadian Forces, and when the Caledonia crisis started, and I saw the police weren't enforcing the law, I became an activist there. So I was part of the group that got Julian Fantino charged criminally, and then I do mostly what I do now though is Israel advocacy work.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing here.
Right,
So I've been here before.
So your politics are there would be no change in your mind anyway, right?
Well, it depends. If somebody gives me
Okay, so let me give you one scenario. Okay, one scenario.
So, but I'm pretty stalwart
Because
conservative.
like I've been disturbed about people in the United States that I've seen videos of who get asked about whether they prefer Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. And they'll say, oh, we hate Obamacare, we love the Affordable Care Act. And with absolutely no knowledge that the Affordable Care Act helped 20 million people get health care. And so there's that's the stuff that bothers me, that people who have been helped by policy are on the verge of losing that.
Well, the problem that you have is I'm not going to pretend that I'm any great analyst on Obamacare, okay? Not at all. But I am aware that the act penalizes people who are too poor to afford Obamacare.
Okay, so I'm not going to argue Obamacare with you, okay? But I'm going to give you an analogy.
So sorry, you're going to point.
Yeah,
what's your point?
There's an analogy I heard that was really interesting on it that I love. It was like blaming the firefighter who carries you out of a burning building for bumping your head on a door jamb and you get a concussion. Otherwise, you burn in the fire because you get health care, right? It's been demonized, right, in the States, right?
Well, I think you have an argument. I mean, look, I have discussions with my American counterparts who are very much, because America is very much, they tend towards free enterprise, especially conservative people. They believe in free enterprise solutions. And generally,
They don't even believe in government, which I think is kind of...
I think it's... I love it. I understand it,
There's
though.
a bit of an irony that a guy in business with a country that doesn't want government is all riled up about putting a businessman in government. You know?
Well, no, because that's the system they have. But they believe in free enterprise. No, actually, if you read Ayn Rand, for example, which I think he was probably inspired by, and the people around him are inspired by, she's not against government. She just says that government has a place to protect the rights of the individual. I look at that. I mean, look, I have discussions with people, conservative people, who say, well, you're Canadian. What do you think about healthcare? And these are Americans. I say, listen, I got to tell you something. I am partial to free enterprise. I love free enterprise. I believe in free enterprise, and I think ultimately free enterprise is best. But we don't have that kind of a world right now. We have a mixed economy. However, is it fair? Is it fair for me, as somebody who doesn't make a lot of money, to criticize the system that treated my heart attack and put a stent in, and I never saw a bill? Now, all other things being equal, if the market was totally free and I wasn't paying, oh my God, you wouldn't believe the taxes I pay. I made $22,000. Do you know how much I pay in taxes in Canada? $4,000 a year. It's outrageous how much money I pay in taxes. So if taxes were lower, maybe if the economy was completely free, then maybe it would be a different solution. But today, listen, I'm here exposing the hypocrisy about people demonstrating for women's rights who never went after any of the countries that were exposing, that oppressed them or gave money to Hillary Clinton. So it's just that's the only reason I'm here. I'm not an expert on Obamacare or anything else.
Because I think a lot of this has to do with policy, right? I think it's a lot to do with what people are going to lose.
Sorry, it has a lot to do with policy.
People are with the policy that comes in now after President Obama. I think that's what a lot of it has to do with.
Well, I think you have to wait and see. I think that the problem is that the media, and I don't know, listen, I'm not going to judge you.
Listen, let's stop with the media, okay?
No, listen,
and
the media,
fake news
everybody
stuff,
missed it.
right?
Everybody in the media missed Trump's connection to the average person. Everybody missed it. And Newt Gingrich.
Michael Moore did it.
No, Michael Moore didn't. Actually, I saw his rant. It was brilliant. Of course, he hated it when the conservatives used it against him, but he was right. No, Michael Moore absolutely.
People could see the way it went.
Yeah, but he was a very lone voice on the left, and I think so. This has colored. When I listen to the Canadian media, even Andy Uedman, when I hear this Trump derangement going on, I think, God, just give him a chance. Put somebody on the air who actually has followed the campaign. Don't believe what CNN is telling you.
Well, CNN is a pretty legitimate news organization.
No.
They just didn't say what you wanted to hear.
No, they're not legitimate. Not legitimate at all.
Sure they are. So is the New York Times.
Oh, the New York. You mean the New York Times that published an article that falsely attributed quotes to the women, for which they later had to apologize about Trump, and all of the women had to do a news conference saying the New York Times lied about what we said.
I think that this is
Come on.
This is the sadness.
If you're a journalist, you can't be
This is the
impressed.
sadness that we face, right? When we try to report on things.
Well, the sadness is,
When we
listen,
try to report
I
on
love the journalists. I think I was raised to believe journalists were the watchdogs of society. No, you don't. You're not watchdogs. Not anymore. As a group. I don't know what you do. But no.
I cover the courts.
Oh, well, see, Christy Blatchford was a friend of ours, and she wrote the book about Caledonia.
Christy's a friend of mine.
Oh, is she? She's
I cover the courts
very
in town.
very
I
humble.
cover murders and rape.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. If you read the Free Press, you can see I've been with for 28 years.
Yeah, I stopped reading the Free Press after a while. I just couldn't stomach.
We
what
also
they
were
did.
the ones that exposed the Matt Brown had an affair.
Yes,
We exposed Joe Fontana's
you do good.
corruption.
Listen, I don't get me wrong. I want to love journalists, but there's a reason why only 33% of the population trusts you now. And you have to. And what I don't see any reflection within people like CNN or any other journalists of these mainstream journalists who say, you know, gee, maybe we had blinders on. Maybe we should have learned from this. Maybe we shouldn't have been putting out fake polls. Maybe we shouldn't have, you know, like the New York Times actually had an editorial saying they were throwing away their journalistic non-bias, and that was disgusting.
I heard something the other day, which I thought was one of the smartest things I've heard, and it was a minister from Detroit who said, data don't vote.
Sorry, what?
Data don't vote.
Data?
Don't vote.
What does that? Data as in DATA?
All the polls and everything, you can look at polls all you want,
Yeah.
but data don't
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah. So listen, I want to love you. I just, a journalist. It's just that when I see what they did to Trump, it just bothers me. So.
Well, I'm going to let you go, Mark.
Listen, nice to talk to you.
So,
Good stuff.
Just, this is what we did.
Hey, I accomplished what I needed to accomplish. Thank you.
The final clip is a television interview with CTV News in London. It's a great interview, and near the end, or correction, near the middle, somebody from the other side, a very tolerant liberal feminist, comes over and snatches the Trump-Pence sign that I'm holding in front of the camera, right on camera. She undoubtedly thought I was quite angry about it, but it was great to expose just how really lawless and violent the left is. They have to intimidate everybody. So enjoy the interview.
All right, so can you first start by saying and spelling your first and last name for me?
Hi, my name is Mark Vandermaas, MarkVandermaas, as in Sam.
And are you a Trump supporter?
I am.
So why are you here today? Why do you feel it necessary to be here?
Well, I followed the campaign very closely, and for many, many months, and I noticed that the left never once held a demonstration or a rally against the candidate who was taking millions upon millions of dollars from countries like Saudi Arabia that brutally oppress women and treat them like property. And for me, I look at this, I'm married to women, I like women, I love a woman, and so I'm all for women's rights. But I just thought I would come down and be a lone voice of against the hypocrisy that I'm seeing in events like this.
And what's that hypocrisy?
Well, the hypocrisy is you're here demonstrating against a guy who made some maybe stupid comments, but you haven't said anything against Iran or Saudi Arabia, or you didn't demonstrate. You haven't mentioned Hillary Clinton talking about taking all this money from Saudi Arabia and countries that oppress women. So there's inherent hypocrisy there. So it's really, in some respects, I wonder if it's not really a pro-women's rights issue. It's just an anti-conservative rally as far as I can see, until these people start really reporting or demonstrating against the people who are really oppressing women.
So what is your goal here today? Like, what is the reaction?
Well, the goal is really simple. The goal was to stand here, and if somebody wanted to talk to me, whether it was media or not, and they wanted to just run an alternative viewpoint, then I would have accomplished my mission. And I've already had, a couple of nice conversations with people. We agree to disagree, and I think that's what it is. They're doing their thing, and I'm doing my thing. I'm doing it quietly and respectfully across the street.
Donald Trump has said some pretty hard comments towards women. A lot of these people are saying they can't forgive him. There's nothing that he can do to really earn their respect anymore. Do you think that's fair to say?
No, I don't think that's fair to say. I think again, first of all, he is the president. Whether you like it or not, he's going to be the president of the United States. And these comments, you had to weigh. I mean, if we were pre-election right now, and I was talking to a gentleman now, what I would say to you is, look, I can weigh some stupid comments from Trump that I would never have said, especially most of them in his past. I think virtually all of them in his past. But I have to weigh that against the candidate, again, who's taken millions upon millions of dollars from countries. There you go. Well, now you've seen the tolerant left. And so they're all excited now. And that's how the left operates. And I think I've just actually proved a point, is that the left believes that everybody has to think like them and act like them and speak like them. And you've just seen an example of that intolerance. So they're not here for tolerance. They're here, I mean, a lot of these people here, they're here to intimidate conservative voices. And you just caught that one on camera. I hope you're going to run it. So to get back to your question, if I was going to weigh out two candidates, I got a candidate on one side who said some stupid things about women, mostly in his past, versus a candidate who took money from millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia who oppresses women, who is corrupt, who lied to the FBI, who kept a server in her basement that was easily hacked, it's not a hard choice. And besides, listen, I shudder to think of the things that Jack Kennedy said. That man was known as a serial philanderer. We have Bill Clinton, but yet the left doesn't protest against him. I haven't seen any protests against Bill Clinton and his misogyny. But the left is going to demonize Trump because he said some stupid things. So the hypocrisy is overwhelming, and I'm really pleased that she stole my sign. So that was great. Hope you use it.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
I'm not.
I wish that that didn't happen on camera for you. All right, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate
Thank you.
speaking today, and I'm going to
That's
get back
great.
to it. All right.
So that was my day at the We Really, Really, Really Hate Trump event, otherwise known as the Women's March. Clearly, these events that were held all across North America really had very little to do with women's rights and everything to do with demonizing a conservative, namely Trump. And the hypocrisy on display is absolutely unbelievable. As another note, I've organized several vigils at the same location in London. At one, I had my Israeli flag thrown onto the ground, grabbed and thrown onto the ground by a Muslim who called me a damn Zionist. Another fellow spit on the flag. And I've had my car keyed. And now we have, right on camera, a liberal feminist, tolerant, of course, coming and stealing my property right on Canada. The left is out of control. The violence and the intimidation is the way of life for them. They accuse us of being Nazis and fascists, even though I've never met a single conservative person that would really want to silence somebody else or steal their property or damage their property. The left is what they accuse us of being. They are brown shirt fascists, and it's on display constantly. That's partly, at least, the reason why they lost the election. Nobody wants anything to do with this stuff anymore, and the crazier they get, the more they are going to destroy themselves, and it can't come too soon. Thank you so much for your time watching and listening today. If you want to follow me, you can read my blog at voiceofcanada.ca. I don't post there a lot, but most of my time is spent on Israel advocacy at israeltruthweek.org and twitter.com/IsraelTruthWeek. Bye.